Browns out in Los Angeles, practicing at UCLA, getting ready for their game against the Rams. Kevin Stefanski talked about the challenges that these Rams present.
It's a good football team. Obviously, Coach McVay does a great job with the team, does a great job with the offense. Stafford's playing at a very, very high level. I got to see him quite a bit in the NFC North, and I think he's playing better than he ever has in his career. I think he's just seeing it. He's physically so gifted, just a great, smart football player. Really good players around him. They make life really hard with the things that they do on offense. Defensively, Coach Morris does a great job. You really have to be prepared for multiple looks, multiple fronts, multiple personnel groupings. Good players throughout. Aaron Donald up front is as good as anybody. He's elite, really, in everything he does, so huge challenge.
And, Tim, I know you wrote an article, 3 Things to Know About the Rams, and 2 of those 3 he mentioned. Matthew Stafford, you said Matthew Stafford giveth and Matthew Stafford taketh away. Rams going through a youth movement on offense, and Aaron Donald is still Aaron Donald. So take us through the things to know about the Rams.
Well, let's start with number 1, Matthew Stafford. Obviously that was a big swing that the Rams made, prior to the 2021 season when they traded for him. Obviously it worked out as well as you could hope for. They won the Super Bowl, but obviously, wasn't the same in 2022, banged up a little bit. And, 2023, he's been better, but I think there's still, some things that kind of are interesting with Matthew Stafford in that, he will throw a lot of touchdowns. In fact, he had 4 last week on Sunday against the Cardinals, but he's also thrown 9 interceptions this season. So he's prone to throwing the football away. In fact, the Rams have only turned the football over 12 times, and 9 of them have been Matt Stafford interceptions, and he's thrown picks in 4 consecutive games. So the secondary, he will put the ball in harm's way sometimes. So if you're the Browns, if that comes your way, you got to be able to grab it, because he'll give you opportunities to pick off those passes. While at the same time, he's got the arm talent to beat you in the ways he has throughout his career. Number 2, about the youth movement with the Rams. I mean, you look at the lineup they had when they won the Super Bowl just 2 seasons ago when they beat the Bengals, and what they have now. It's so different. And naturally, that kind of has to happen when you go all in like the Rams did and you have to rebuild. But full marks to the Rams for adding these young pieces that they have. I mean, look at their starting running back. Kyron Williams, a former 5th-round pick from 2022, almost in 7 games this season, he's got almost 600 yards rushing. He had 143 against the Cardinals on Sunday. Another 5th-round pick from this year, Puka Nacua. I mean, he has become their top receiver. I mean, there was a time at the beginning of the season where people talking that he might be the offensive rookie of the year. That's how good he was. And he's had to step up in a big way with Cooper Kupp dealing with injuries. And then there's also another young player that's really interesting, a speedy receiver in Tutu Atwell, had 76 yards to lead the Rams receiving against Arizona. So there's a lot of interesting young pieces and parts on this Rams offense that you're going to have to watch out for. And especially when you have a guy like Sean McVay, who's shown he's one of the most creative offensive schemers in the NFL. So those are guys you got to be worried about. Number 3, of course, we got to talk about Aaron Donald. I mean, anytime you talk about the Rams and that defense, it starts with Aaron Donald, arguably the greatest defensive tackle in NFL history. The last couple of seasons, there were talks that, whispers about whether he would retire, but he hasn't. And he's still playing at a high level, 5.5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, this season. It's been impressive the job he's done, at 32 years old, still leading this team in those categories. And it's so rare when you're facing a defense where the best pass rush is going to come from right up the middle. Usually it's from the outsides, but this Rams defense, because of Aaron Donald being the unicorn that he is, because of the way he generates pressure in the middle, it's so rare. And so I think that puts so much more onus on the guards of the Browns, Joe Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, and then the center Ethan Posick. They're going to have to be wary of 99 when he's on the field, because we know the one thing quarterbacks hate more than anything else is when that pass rush comes right up the middle.
Especially if it's Joe Flacco, not the most mobile guy. That will be a challenge without question.